dawn of the virtual reality revolution. How will we use this new technology, and how will it change us? Welcome to Stanford's Virtual Human Interaction Lab. Look out the window in the back of the lab to see researchers in action. Please turn back around.
Hello, my name is Jeremy Balanson. For more than 2 decades, my students and I have studied the psychology of virtual reality. Take a moment and walk around my avatar. Please, stand in front of me once again.
Please walk to the footprints.
Over the years, more than 15,000 visitors have come to our lab to learn about the effects of this powerful medium. Now, we're bringing the lab to you.
Press the button to begin. Imagine walking across this plank right now. Not too scary, right? Now, press the button again. Do you feel differently now? We call this psychological response presence. Now, walk slowly across the plank to the footprints. Presence is why virtual experiences can have very real-world consequences. All right, let's give you some solid ground to stand on. Look at these headsets. For most of the research you're going to learn about today, experimental subjects wore these early headsets, both of which are very expensive and extremely heavy. In the 1960s, Stanford psychologists discovered that children tend to repeat the behavior of actors that they see on TV. In VR, you aren't just passively watching, you're actively doing. It's hard to resist. We tested if a VR experience could make you more altruistic in the real world. You will now become a superhero and learn how to fly. You will take off by raising your hands above your head. Practice this by lifting them into the red orbs. To steer, point your hands in the direction that you want to go. Great. To speed up, move your hands closer to each other. To slow down, move them farther apart. You can get lower to the ground by dropping your arms below your waist. You're all set. To open the roof, hit the button. When you're ready to take off, raise your hands above your head. There has been a disaster in the city, and everyone has been evacuated. Your mission is to fly around like a superhero and find a child who was left behind. Go to the top of the tallest building and get a good vantage point. Please fly to the tallest building. In the lab experiment, people flew for 8 minutes before the child was found. But today we'll stop you a bit early. After taking off the headset, experimental subjects encountered a real person who needed help. Ones who flew like a superhero in VR were more likely to lend a hand in the real world. Now, take off again and land inside the circle in the park. If VR causes altruism, maybe it can also encourage paper conservation. Look down at your right hand and bring the cup up to your nose. Now, drop it in the garbage can next to you. Maybe next time you can use a mug instead of a disposable cup. Someone needs to cut down a tree to make paper for cups and other products. Please grab the chainsaw and follow the back and forth motion of the green orb. People who cut down a virtual tree actually use 20% less paper later on in the real world compared to those who learned about deforestation by reading a narrative or watching a video. Virtual reality leads to concrete action. But fighting climate change also requires government action. In 2017, we took VR to decision makers halfway around the world. Select Palau on the globe. Welcome to Palau. Here, we use 360 video to bring you to the island nation located in Micronesia. You are now at Soft Coral Arch, a famous reef where you can see a high concentration of beautiful and flowery soft coral. Look up at the clear waters above you. Look down and find the orange coral near your feet. Now, look up once more and notice how the tourists are damaging the coral by kicking it with their fins. We presented this footage to members of the Palauan National Congress. Shortly after the meeting, the government began enacting new policies to help protect the reef. VR was only a small part of the decision to change policy, but it sure helped. A little closer to home, we have found another great real-world application for 360 video, training. We used VR to train better decision-making on the field. Quarterbacks need to learn how to change the play after getting a quick look at the defense.
DC1, DC1. For the 3 shot.
Look from left to right to examine the defense wearing white uniforms. The quarterback has to make sure every defender is matched with someone on his own team, a blocker who can stop the defender from tackling him.
Red, anybody hot? Hey, lefty, lefty.
The quarterback reacts and changes the play by calling out lefty, lefty. The center, number 65, now points left. And number 5 prepares to block a defender who's rushing in.
Red, anybody hot?
He made the block. You have now learned how to read a defense. Quarterbacks and athletes from other sports around the world now rely on VR for training. The possible applications are endless. Welcome back to the lab. The football players you just saw were video recordings, but computer graphic avatars can be more interactive. Even cartoonish avatars can feel real when they respond to your own gestures. This is Grover from Sesame Street. Wave to Grover.
Oh, hello there! It is I, your lovable furry friend Grover. Get up out of your chair and dance with us. Follow our crazy moves. You can do it.
Did you dance? If so, you're like a majority of children who are more likely to follow instructions from Grover in VR than on TV. Now, walk up and tickle him. Our brains process his social behavior in a way that is natural. For kids in particular, the line between real and virtual is very thin, so we need to think carefully about what types of content we share with them. Now, we're going to give you a body of your own. Please stand on the footprints in the center of the room. Look at yourself in the mirror. We have placed you in a random virtual body. Take a moment to explore what it's like to be in this body. Bring your hands above your head. Now, bring them down. Wave to yourself. After about 4 minutes of moving, your brain begins to adapt and psychologically own this digital body. Turn to your right until you can't see the mirror. Now, turn back to the mirror. Hit the button to cycle through avatars until you find one that is very different from how you look in the real world. Once you've selected an avatar, you can stop pressing the button. Once you've selected an avatar, you can stop pressing the button. Once you've selected an avatar, you can stop pressing the button. Now, turn and face the back of the lab. We've turned off his voice, but this man is harassing you about your race, gender, or age. VR can be more effective than role-playing or watching videos in promoting empathy and behavior change. While no media experience will magically make prejudice disappear, VR is a tool that has promised to help. Walk to the footprints and turn back around to the mirror. As you've just seen, the brain is amazing in its ability to adapt to new virtual bodies. Let's take this one step further. Why limit ourselves to bodies with just 2 arms? Let's see how flexible your brain is as we teach you how to use your third arm. Rotate your left wrist. Notice how it makes your third arm move from left to right. Rotate your right wrist. Notice how it makes your third arm move up and down. When you feel like you've got the hang of it, use your third arm to pop the balloon. Good. Now let's make things a little harder. Your job is to pop the 3 balloons by touching them all at once. Great job. On average, studies have shown that the brain adapts to controlling a new limb in only a few minutes. What would you do with a third arm?
After hundreds of experiments, we know that virtual reality experiences are undeniably convincing and can change our behavior in the real world. Fast forward a few decades, experts agree that virtual reality will be perceptually indistinguishable from what happens in the real world. What happens when anyone can have the perfect experience at the touch of a button? We need to use virtual reality to enhance instead of detract from the real world around us. Stanford scholars will continue to explore these critical questions, and we hope this tour has inspired you to help shape the future of virtual reality.